coronavirus and 8 things to consider before panicking about the infective virus. And as I'm talking to you now, the live map of Johns Hopkins shows there are globally 9,925 infected as of yesterday. And I'll leave a link below for you for that. This is by Steve McComley of Collective Spark. Philip Schneider, Waking Times, published this. If you read the news, you likely heard about the deadly coronavirus in China. You've probably seen videos of sick people and heard about the impending doom that our great nation faces if we don't do something about this grave threat coming from China. But have you ever thought about why we're hearing so much about this virus, despite it affecting only a relatively small number of people in our country? Who benefits from mass media hype around the coronavirus? 1. This story is getting massive hype. No one can deny the incredible hype that this story is getting, but why? Nearly every major news outlet is front-paging the news about the virus. NBC warns of the rising death toll. CNN frightens us with diving stocks due to coronavirus fears. The Dow dropped 0.6%, while other stocks like Boeing grew 1.7%. The Drudge Report sounds the alarm on the spreading outbreak, triggering the quarantine of 56 million people. That's in China. But China's state-run communist paper, The People's Daily, reports only 41 total deaths from coronavirus, 34 cured, and released with a total number of confirmed cases to date, 1,287. Obviously, this article is from January 26th, that's why. As we said before, it's almost touching 10,000 now globally. And they say that by next week it could be up to 50,000. So that is exponential growth. Now, this story is getting the hype, as we said. Yet every new development is serious front-page news. CNBC released an updated map of those affected by the virus. In China, it looks like they're absolutely swamped with illness. However, to say that the true number of cases is minuscule compared with China's population of 1.4 billion people would be the world's greatest understatement of the century. Is the media simply reporting justifiably on a virus that could potentially affect millions of people, or do they have ulterior motives? 2. Nobody knows where the virus came from, and that's right. As from what the Chinese officials told us yesterday, after examining 99 people, this is my comment here, okay? They believe that it was brought into Wuhan and the animal market from somewhere else, and from Wuhan then spread to from the animals to people. So they're still looking into that. So nobody knows where the virus came from, as the article says here. So where did the virus come from anyway? Some speculate it originated in snakes, or previously from bats or contact with other animals in an open-air food market in Wuhan. But if that's true, is there no connection to the fact that the Chinese government opened up a new biolab in the same city, allegedly tasked with studying the, quote, world's most dangerous pathogens, end quote. Even the science journal Nature was concerned with the facility prior to its operation in 2017. So did the Chinese government accidentally or intentionally release a virus? Did it end up in bats and snakes and humans? Why were they working on studying this virus in the first place? And who benefits from its release? That's a question. Number 3, the media makes top dollar from your fear. Along with America's other biggest go-nowhere news stories of the week, Trump's impeachment process, and media rakes in huge sums of money from reporting on medical fear stories. Media executives know that people will tune in to watch a deadly virus sweep the globe. The fear that you experience from thinking about the potential for mass quarantine and death paralyzes and keeps most people locked into consuming more fear-inducing coverage. Hence, more moolah for the fat cats at CNN, NBC, etc. Bad news is good for business, and while statistically speaking, you should be far more concerned for your safety every time you get into an automobile, nothing gets clicks like fear and panic. Number 4, governments always seek more control from virus scares. What is the logical conclusion for a population of fearful and paralyzed individuals with no experience combating a new and deadly virus? Giving the authorities more power, of course, and let the government forcibly inoculate you and your family, allow the medical industry complex to take more of your hard-earned money, watch silently with the fear that standing up for your rights might lead to the destruction of the human race. 5. This happens every few years and pushes important issues to the back page. It isn't hard to find examples of medical hysteria in the past either. Think back to Ebola and the swine flu, the regular flu, measles, SARS, or even the plague. Every few years, the media ramps up its coverage of a new virus that often harms a very insignificant number of people, and the medical establishment calls for more control, governments call for more control, and important stories get vigorously backpaged. As a nation, we end up wasting valuable time on non-issue that was never going to matter to begin with, the only net result being a marked increase in fear and stress. Number 6, the coronavirus does not affect you. Chances are pretty solid that you won't even meet someone who is affected in any way by the coronavirus. Statistically, it makes no sense to worry about the virus when you likely know someone personally who was or will be affected by poverty, the drug war, junk food-induced diabetes, opiate addiction, cancer, heart disease, the looming national debt, war, a lack of clean food or water, stress, taxation, unconstitutional no-knock, SWAT raids, pollution, depression, etc. Focusing all of your attention on this new fear is illogical when you consider that we live in a world of daily threats and dangers anyhow. And by the way, spoiler alert, none of us make it out of here alive. Furthermore, those who are dying from the virus are not actually dying from the virus, but rather from health complications resulting from having the virus and a compromised immune system like pneumonia. If the national media genuinely wanted you to be safe, they would be running a wall-to-wall coverage of how to naturally boost your immune system and get your body into a state of maximum health, but they're rarely mentioning this fact. Number 7, the institutions who benefit from coronavirus hype are incompetent and dangerous. The institutions, including the CDC, vaccine companies, media who benefit from coronavirus hype, are incredibly incompetent and dangerous. One might even go so far as to call them diabolical. We all know about the infamous and highly publicized syphilis experiments that began in the 1930s, and CDC Director Dr. Brenda Fitzgerald, who was forced to resign in early 2018 after she was caught buying shares of Merck, a major vaccine company that the CDC is supposed to oversee. There's no shortage of medical corruption in the US, both historically and contemporarily, if you look at hard enough, and already the pharmaceutical industry is racing to develop a vaccine, quote unquote, which then coupled with government mandates equals insane revenue. Number 8, grainy videos of dead and sick-looking people are being used to scare you. To top it off, much of the evidence we're getting from the media is sketchy at best. Earlier, the Daily Star ran a photograph of 2 men in lab coats, one of which was lying on the ground. The photo is extremely grainy and out of focus. Meanwhile, what we're supposed to make of it, what are we supposed to think? There's no context here or proof that the photo is actually what they say it is, and yet it was featured in all caps on the Drudge Report, Doctors Collapse. It says along the plethora of other deadlines, experts fear too late for China, everyone will get infected, simulation predicts 65 million could die. Anyone who's been paying attention could have predicted the rise of the coronavirus and know what the outcome would be. Mass hysteria and collective fear will be used to further erode individual liberties and stoke elitist medical-industrial complex. By simply being aware, however, that fearing all the news is illogical, while continuing to focus on your health and wellness, you automatically subvert this attempt at mass control.